good morning from California, and good evening from Tanzania. And today,
Good
for In the Know
evening.
with Kat Babino, I have my very special guest, Clara Mlemba. She is calling all the way from Tanzania. I'm so excited. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Clara is a STEM advocate, a research enthusiast, a science communicator, everything that I love. Clara, tell us more about you.
Oh, okay. Professionally, I am a registered pharmacist licensed to practice. So I ventured and committed myself in the STEM space and STEM world because one, I love talking. I enjoy talking a lot. So that is when the science communicator stuff got in. And also because I love being a tutor. I've been a tutor for some times. After graduation, I've been a tutor for maybe 13, 14 months, and I used to enjoy doing that. So I realized that being around people, making people know about science stuff, teaching, educating, just being out there has been part of me every day. So that's what I do. Yeah, and currently I started a podcast through my organization, Adilisha, Child and Youth Development Organization, where we advocate for increasing proficiency and interests of girls in STEM space and STEM subjects. So yeah, pretty much that's briefly what I can offer for now.
That is amazing. And I just learned Adilisha is a Swahili name and is the name of your
Yeah.
organization. Can you tell us more about it and more of what you guys are doing?
Oh, yeah. So Adilisha is kind of a root word, coming from a bigger world, like which says changing the culture or maybe behavioral change. So it's all about change. And when the organization first started in 1999,
Oh,
it used to advocate for children rights, taking care of homeless children,
mm,
and mostly it was majoring on family strengthening because at the time Tanzania was experiencing a lot of street children, homeless people, yeah, and things of that nature.
mm.
But later in 2016, the organization rebranded, and it rebranded so that it can deal with the STEM space. So currently, our mission and my mission personally is to increase the interest and proficiency of all girls in the STEM space. So what we mainly do is we run girls STEM clubs in the public secondary schools,
Mm.
and we hold uh, coding and aviation programs during the weekends for the students in our labs
Mhm.
here at Adilisha, and mentorship programs and advocacy for policy changes in the country around the STEM space, and including for gender equity because we believe in a world where technology, science, and STEM everything is gender neutral.
Yes.
So we have been advocating on that for some times now, 8 years, I think. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. That is really good. And
Thank you.
I've been looking at the website and all that you guys are working on, all the things you're doing is like
Yeah.
it's really major. But I wanna talk about Alicia, but I also want to talk about you and how you got started. And so you
Okay.
mentioned pharmacy. So what made you go into pharmacy?
Mm, okay. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Now, allow me to maybe share a bit about how most Tanzanian girls decide on their careers over here.
Okay.
Yeah, first and foremost, when anyone is deciding on a career, we first focus on what is going to give me the highest income in a shortest period of time so that I can survive, first and foremost.
Yes.
And secondly, it comes down to mostly to the parents. Parents have a bigger influence to the girls' lives over here. So sometimes they can influence and shape what you end up majoring and studying in the future. And for my case too, my parents did that also. They played a role in me developing my interest in the pharmaceutical field because growing up, I used to be very curious with all the cosmetic bottles, reading out loud all the ingredients written inside there. Now, my
Mm-hmm.
mom back there, because she had one of her siblings who were doing pharmacy, told me that you look like you are really interested in knowing components and constituents of this kind of stuff. Did you know that pharmacists in our country can do that too? So I took that in mind. Yeah, maybe I was 10 or something. So because I took that in mind, when I went to secondary school, I was good in most subjects, but particularly chemistry was an icon for me.
Mm.
So I told myself, what the hell? Pharmacy is considered a noble profession in our country. So I
Yeah.
was sure that being in the noble profession, I'll get enough income, just like any Tanzanian girl's dream is. And because I found studying chemical constituents particularly interesting, and also because biology was particularly interesting for me at that time, I found myself pursuing and majoring more towards those type of subjects. Fast forward, I became a pharmacist.
That's cool. Chemistry was never my good. I was never good at chemistry, is what I'm trying to say. Biology, yes. Chemistry, no. So even though I understand it, doing all the chemical compounds was pretty much above my head. But
Okay.
yeah, but you said you started looking into it and thinking about it at 10 in secondary school. When did you really start like focusing on the sciences like chemistry and biology? Was it what you would consider high school for you guys?
Okay.
Is that when you started studying or was it more of college?
Yes, it's more of high school
Mm,
because the education system in Tanzania gives you 7 years of primary education,
okay.
then 4 years of secondary education, and then 2 additional years for high school.
Okay.
So, as for my case, mostly by the second year of secondary school, that is when you do a national assessment exam for you to decide whether you will be dropping down the art subjects or you'll be dropping the science subjects. So that was the crucial part for me, and of course that's the crucial part of most of the girls out here, and there is where most of them lose their interest in science subjects.
Oh wow.
And
So it's
yeah, and
right in secondary
yeah.
school, so if the equivalent
Hmm.
would probably be middle school for us is when
Oh
girls
yeah,
are
I
starting
guess.
to lose their focus, and that's the same here. Is
Oh
exactly the
yeah.
same. It's right around the end of elementary, start of middle school is
Okay.
when girls and just boys too, but kids start to lose their focus in STEM because it's not pushed, it's not a big thing. And I don't know how it is out there, but out here, media is a big influence. And so
Oh
kids now
yeah.
want to be
I can
influencers.
imagine.
Yeah, they want
Yeah, I can imagine.
sports and things like that. So yeah, it's not as pushed.
For us, it's pushed, but it's more of a resource limited setting that
Mm.
keeps the people away from the science type of subjects, all the science, physics, and chemistry and biologies, because most of what we do is theoretical.
Okay.
Very few people get access to practical part of the STEM subjects. That means they spend most of their time with the theoretical knowledge without knowing how they can incorporate it, how they can conceptualize the things. That is why they end up dropping. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That
But
makes sense. Yeah.
I think for my case, I was fortunate enough. I studied in a private school for my
Mhm.
secondary education. So it gave me a chance to incorporate my theories and practicals right in the beginning from when I started the first year of secondary school. So by the time I was completing my second year of secondary school, I was good in the business subjects, the art subjects, and the science subjects. But
Yes.
because I remembered that I have to decide at some point, that is when now I decided to focus on the science subjects in my third year of secondary school, because that is where in our country you are allowed to now focus on the
Mhm.
specific type of subjects. So straight from the third year to when I was graduating my secondary education, because we do it for 4 years,
Mhm.
I was doing all the art subjects because you must do the art subjects plus the science subjects. Now, for high school, that is where we do only four subjects. So
Okay.
I think I did advanced mathematics, but not the pure one, just the basic applied.
Right. Not that definite pure math. Yes.
Not that type. And then I did physics, chemistry, and biology. Yeah,
Mhm.
and the additional subjects, I guess, general studies, was it? Yes, general studies, just all about civics and knowing the country. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
So from there, I went straight to uni. I went straight to uni after high school.
Okay.
So I did my bachelor degree in pharmacy.
Okay. And how long is university?
For us, you do your bachelor degrees of pharmacy for 4 years. So
Mhm.
you do 4 full years, then you do 1 full year for internship.
Okay.
But of course, because it is a paid internship, it feels lesser, you know.
Right. Less intern,
And
more actual job.
exactly.
Mhm.
And after that, I think uh, you do your license exam after the full year for internship. You do your license exam, and from there, then you're fully licensed. And yeah, you're fully licensed to practice. So yeah,
Okay. So you're able to practice right out of uni. You don't have to do like a master's or a PhD.
no. You can do that additionally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's really cool. So how long were you doing pharmacy, or are you still doing pharmacy along with Adilisha?
I still do that.
Okay. Okay. So how did you get
I
involved?
operate a community pharmacy. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I
Okay.
operate a community pharmacy.
Oh, nice. Nice. How does that work?
Mm, it's nice. I get to tell people how to use their medications. I get to advise them on stuff. Yeah, taking
Nice.
care of their bodies. So, I mean, what else can a lady want?
And I want to take this time to thank everyone who is watching us live. I know it's early here and later there, but I thank everyone
Yeah.
who's taking the time to watch. And I see STEM TV in the chat. And is STEM TV a part of the work you're doing?
Yes.
Yeah, tell us about it.
So STEM TV is part of Adilisha. It's part of Adilisha organization, and what it does is it just does documentaries, mostly involving educational stuff, the arithmetics and writing and reading for primary school students. So it does documentaries in rural areas,
Oh,
because
okay.
mostly I think 65% to 70 of people here in Tanzania live in the rural area. So
Mm,
it does documentaries on that.
okay.
Education, yeah, involving education in primary schools.
Nice, nice. And so talking about what's going on and how is the education system in the rural versus the city parts?
Oh yeah. Uh, the situation is a bit hard. Mm, as we have been working over the past 8 years,
Mhm.
we realized a very big gap on resource distribution, especially the teachers, learning aids,
Yeah.
equipped laboratories in the rural areas. And unfortunately, because the rural areas are really not that accessible, the roads are not really well. Sometimes for some areas, even network connection is not stable.
Mhm.
So the government tries its best. Only the government provides education in that part of the world, because most private people can't really risk and pool their resources to that extent to
Mhm.
offer services in the rural areas. And of course, because most of the rural areas cannot really afford such type of service, even if it could be offered by the private institutions. So yeah, mostly it is a stretch. One teacher normally teaches around 100 to 140 students, yeah, in the rural area, compared to one teacher to 75 students in the urban area.
Wow. That's a lot of even if the 1 to 75 is a big wow, okay. I mean, I'm trying to picture that because here in America,
Yes.
they'll get upset if you have more than 10 students to one teacher,
Oh,
so
really?
oh, yeah,
Wow.
you have to have teacher aides, someone who can help, like, 10 is too many for one teacher, so for you to say 75 for one teacher, that is astonishing to me because I can't even imagine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at first no one, you can't really notice that it's a big problem until when you get exposed to other environments and other settings. And for us it used to be normal. We're used to that. They
Right.
used to be in a class is used to have 100 students, 200 students, and it's normally not a big deal until when it comes to the time when you want to do practicals and the
Mhm.
lab can only accommodate 40 students at once.
Right. Right.
So yeah, funny enough, it can happen that if they arrange the sessions alphabetically and your name is a Z, then maybe you won't get a chance to go to the laboratory that week. And it used to happen most times.
Wow.
So it's a bit crazy. Most students complete their secondary schools not even having held a microscope, but they have read about it and they have heard how it works, and they think they know how it works, but they
Right.
have not seen it. So for some people, it looks like it does not make sense for them to keep pursuing the science subjects if they're not even sure if they can access such resources, you know.
Right. Right. So do students as they get older, maybe even going to uni, do they consider leaving Tanzania to pursue it in other countries to so that they do have access to resources?
Oh yeah. Now the case the case of Tanzania is a bit, I don't know how to put it, but most Tanzanians are not really wired to go and search for something outside Tanzania. I
Okay.
think even among the East African countries, it's the only country with the least of its population outside the country. Most of the people are always here,
Okay.
So they just end up doing some other things,
Okay.
because most of them are not confident enough. They don't think that there's a world out there where they can exercise their dreams, where they can take their dreams to reality. Most of that is just wishful thinking, and the society over here keeps emphasizing to the children right when they are young that whatever they are thinking beyond their heads sometimes makes them look crazy. So, because growing up, they keep hearing such type of words from people around them. It
Mhm.
keeps shining their light, and so they keep dreaming lesser and
Yeah.
lesser and lesser. By the time they complete their secondary education, the only thing that they can think of is what can I do right now so that I can earn an income? Because still accessing all the basic needs for a country such as ours, it's still tricky for most people, you know. So everyone will be trying their best just to do anything that can allow them to earn simple basic needs. So they
Okay.
don't really dream that far. That's why we try our best to make sure that to validate their dreams, to tell them that there is a world out there where your dreams can become a reality, where people can fund your thoughts and anything of that nature because they're not sure if it's possible. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that is it's similar, but it's not similar. I mean, we have the American dream here, but we do have rural areas. We have places where education system is really bad. And there's a lot of people who really just want to earn the income. They don't know how to go past what their parents have done, what they've seen their whole life. They don't know how to go past that. So they stay stuck or they stay in that area. And it's interesting to hear that because I don't know. Okay, let me back up. I feel like I want to apologize because here we have been taught to call your country Tanzania, but you are definitely saying it different than I am. And how do you pronounce it?
Oh, Tanzania.
Tanzania. Okay. Because I feel like I've
Yes.
been saying it wrong forever now. But
Oh,
yes,
really?
yes, because when I hear you say it,
Tell
it
me,
sounds
yeah,
so
yeah. Tell me,
different.
how do you pronounce it again?
Tanzania, but it sounds different when you say it.
Oh, now let me give you a trick. I
Okay.
learned this trick from my mom when I was younger.
Okay.
It's that most English words have their stress in the beginning of the syllables, right?
Okay. Yes.
But for us, most of the stress is at the end of the word, you know.
Okay.
So for you, you say Tanzania. Oh, you say Tanzania, right?
Oh,
Oh, so your stress is at the end, but the stress where I place the stress at the beginning. So the
okay.
tar is where I stress. I
Okay.
stress more on the tar.
Okay. See, I'm learning
Yes.
something. I'm learning a lot, and I appreciate that. But yeah,
In a
so
honor. I like doing that.
it's for a lot of students here is go to school, go to college, get a job. And not a lot of people dream past that. Some people don't even dream about college, don't even get the opportunity to go to college. But the idea of leaving the United States and going to college in another country seems far fetched. But as I've gotten older, I've noticed more and more Americans are doing that, leaving the country and getting an education. And it's like you said, it's kind of a lot of times your light gets dimmed by the adults in your life, parents or family who are telling you you can't do it. And I appreciate that that's where you guys are coming in and saying, no, let your light shine. What is your big dream? What do you want to do? And I'm seeing it, like I have your website up on the screen next to me, and it's circling, and I see the airplanes and people, students learning about flight and things like that. And I think that's amazing. Can you talk more about
Thank you.
some of the things you guys are offering and teaching?
Oh yeah. So what we do majorly is we connect the people in the field with the students. So we do take students to the fields sometimes for field trips so that they can have a day where they experience real work. They can ask questions on whatever they is revolving in their heads
Mhm,
on a certain field. So we collaborate with STEM facilities, hospitals, industries, so the airports, so that the students can get access to information from them, can get to hold the devices and things of that nature. So that is what we do. But in our own lab, we have STEM instructors who train the students on simple basics, on coding, aviation, and the computers, because really computers are a big thing over here.
Yeah.
Not everyone has a computer.
Mm.
So we give them we teach them basic skills. We tutor them on how they can code, how they can create simple robots, and some biological practicals. Yeah, that's what we do in our lab. And sometimes we give the teachers in their own schools items. We lend items. We lend equipments and devices to the teachers in schools so that they can use they can use them and share them in their vast population of the class. So mainly that is what we do.
Nice, nice, nice. And then you started your own podcast. Can you talk to us about your podcast?
Oh yeah, it's not really my own podcast. It's Adilisha's podcast.
Okay.
So that is when I really started working with Adilisha at that time. The podcast mainly is a tool that we want to keep using for advocacy and as a place where we can amplify voices of women who are in the STEM space so that their stories can offer dreams, they can offer mentorship and be role models for young girls who think that them being in the STEM space is a far-fetched dream, is something that they cannot do. Yeah, so we want them to hear from real life experiences from experts who are already in the field and their stories, how they get there, and so that they can offer messages and later on they can connect. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And so are the
Yeah.
people that you're having on your show, are they all from Tanzania or have you reached to other countries and talking to women in other countries?
No, they have all been from Tanzania, and it's been like that because when I choose the cohort of people in the women in Tanzania, they have the real life experience in whatever is happening in the country, and
Mhm.
because most of them were have been students in Tanzania even before all this technology has been here, all this advancement have been here. They have experienced firsthand hardships that were in the education system, and even some of them have been part of tribes or clans where going to school as a young girl, as a woman, is completely an abominable thing because
Hmm.
it's still some of the tribes in the country still don't want to educate young women and young girls. For them it looks like a waste of time and waste of resources. So for us, choosing our Tanzanian cohort specifically was to be able to hear their stories. How were they able to achieve what they have achieved in such settings, so
Right.
that the young girls now can understand and relate exactly to that type of setting and change. Yeah, but looking forward, expanding the audience, of course, gives them exposure, also gives me exposure, I can say. So it's something that will keep in mind too.
Yeah, I just want to implore you to consider talking to women from other countries because what I've
Yes.
noticed, I've been doing this
Yes.
podcast for a few years, and I've had a few people that on the show that were in other countries, but you never realize how similar things can be. When you
Oh,
talk to people in other
yeah.
countries and you talk to people who have similar experiences or different experiences, there's typically
Sure.
some way you can relate. And I think that kids, if they see that type of diversity, even if it's someone who looks like them but comes from a different place, it also exposes them and opens their minds to more
Exactly.
possibilities that they never would have thought of. Yeah. So
Sure.
I think one of my shows that I've had that always comes to mind, it's Black women out here who work with sharks, and they're shark scientists, and they work together. And I'm just like, I didn't even never would have considered that as a career. I never would have thought that, hey, I can go diving and study sharks.
Oh
But
yeah, I know, right?
But it's a job. It's something that I never would have considered, but I see other people doing and I'm like, "Oh, wow,
Yeah,
that's something I could
they,
do."
they are they are courageous. They are
Yes.
sharks.
Yes.
Sharks.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yes. Yes. They do research. I've been following them for a few years, so I know they do research
Okay.
in Florida, but they also I don't remember what country, but they do go to the continent of Africa and do shark research, but I don't remember what country.
Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Great. Tanzania has the coast, which has, I think, has a good population of dolphins and whales, isn't
Yeah.
there? So
Yeah.
it's a good place. It's a good place to visit. I urge your cat
I
to
mean, if
visit
you're inviting me,
Tanzania.
I would love to come. I have never been to the continent of Africa. It's a dream of mine to go. I mean, Tanzania sounds like a great place to start.
It's a good place to start. It's a very calm place. People here take life slow. They're in no rush. So you'll totally relax. That I assure you. You have a good
Oh, see,
time.
you're speaking
Great
my
people,
language.
great weather, great food. Yeah.
Oh, see, all of that sounds amazing to me. So,
You will learn
are you guys close
Swahili.
to the water? Are you close to the coast?
Mm, no, we're not close to the coast, but we are in Lake Victoria, one
Mm,
of the major
biggest
lakes in
lakes.
the
Yeah.
continent. So yeah, we are at Lake Victoria.
Nice, nice. I mean, all the pictures and videos they look beautiful, but I mean, I gotta see it with my own eyes. So
Exactly.
I'm okay, all right. I'll have to look into that. But yeah,
Please do, and we'll be
yes.
glad to have you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, so tell us. Let's go and talk more about what's happening now. I know you spoke about the culture of Tanzania in the past and dealing with a lot of homeless. So has that changed more? And now that's why you guys get to focus more on the education?
Yeah, that changed more because at first, when the organization was promoting family strengthening and yeah, all the family strengthening stuff, they really improved how men interpreted family and how men involved themselves in families more. So that situation is better right now, and because the government has changed these policies, strengthened these policies on families, yeah, so it got better. That is why now we had to now get into the world also because the world is changing. It keep getting advanced, and with all the technological stuff we don't want to be left behind. And
Mhm.
the statistics currently show that 80% of the African population has its people around 16 years to 38 years. So it means it is a young continent, a continent with having a potential of giving the world a lot of its human resources. Now, we intend to make sure that if people are dreaming of having us as resources to help this world be a better place, then we better be equipped, you know.
Mhm.
Now, when we got back again to the statistics, because the Lake Zone region where we reside is one of the regions in the country with the strongest patriarchal influence of tribes. The tribes here have the greatest patriarchal systems, yeah, and the patrilineal type of systems.
Mhm.
Most women are very, very disregarded.
Mm.
That is why, if we want them to be, I mean, to have economic advancement, for them to be confident enough, for them to have equal rights to education, equal rights and access also to resources, at a point where the men were already very far ahead from them, we had
Mhm.
now to put a keen, we had to put to strategize some keen methods and be keen enough to make sure that we get the women also to the point where they can be equally knowledgeable. yeah,
Mhm.
and useful, like how the men are.
Okay. Okay. So, let me ask you this. Do you guys this is gonna sound like a crazy question, but do you guys get Amazon out there?
Mm, I have never used Amazon. I'll be honest with you,
Okay.
because I don't know all the addresses, the street address, the street number. I'm not even sure if the postcodes are correct over here. It's not something that we really do.
Okay.
Maybe for our country, the commercial capital city of Tanzania is Dar es Salaam.
Okay.
So for that part of the country, they have access to most of all the type of technologies that the rest of the world experiences. But for the major part of the country, we still do our things old school.
I only ask because I'm not trying to say I have a big influence because I don't have a big influence, but I know of teachers and teacher programs here that probably would want to help by sending you guys materials. And I know the quickest
Mm,
way is Amazon, but if there's another way that maybe teachers out here can help support the work that you guys are doing by sending some
yes.
materials, like making a wish list is easy on Amazon, but I'm not promoting Amazon. They're not paying me. I'm not promoting them, but I'm just saying it's the easiest way to make like a wish list and for people to want to
Okay.
support you.
Okay.
So how can
I
people
think that
support
can
you?
be arranged. That can be arranged.
Okay.
Uh, Resources are one of the most important stuff, and for for us here not to be able, it's not that we can majorly, we can access Amazon, right? Yes, I think we can access Amazon. Only that personally, I have not done that. But because the administration and the fundraising team normally do receive funds and resources too. Sometimes for Amazon, it may be online resources they have purchased and received from Amazon. Physically, maybe we can get an address for Dar es Salaam, and things from there normally can get shipped to us.
Okay.
So we can arrange on that, and it will be possible.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, however the case may be, I just know, that sometimes we have teachers and programs out here who have access to resources, access to, let's say, microscopes or,
Exactly.
test tubes, something like that that could be sent in order. And I just wanted to see how we can support you guys in the work that you're doing.
Um, Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I see a
We'll have
Peter
to
Paul.
discuss further on
Good work,
that.
Madam Clara. Clara. Yeah, go ahead, Peter. But yeah, we can talk about that offline, but I think that it's important that we see the work that you guys are doing and be as supportive as we can.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted to show your website so that you can kind of talk a little bit about it. And yeah, so this is the website.
Yes.
I feel like how let's make it bigger. All right. And so if you go to adilisha.or.tz, then you will see the work that they're doing and how you can possibly be involved. I'm going to share it in the chat for people as well. But yeah. So it's almost time for me to actually get up and go to my actual job, but is there anything else that you wanted to share before we conclude?
Uh, Majorly, I would like to, first of all, to wish everyone a happy International Day for Women and Girls in Science,
Yes.
and for all the women and the girls in the science world, in the STEM world. I want you to keep making the mission to strengthen the other women in the space, strengthen and mentor the younger generation to
Yeah.
be in the same space as your biggest mission, because the world needs enough people who are capable and who can dream big enough and be daring enough.
Yes, yes, I love that. Absolutely. I forgot that today was International Women's STEM Day. Oh my goodness. My brain is like it's like ice cream. It's just soft at
Oh,
the
yeah.
moment.
It will melt. Give it time. It will melt.
Exactly. And this is an odd question, but I'm curious. How many languages do you speak?
I think two. I'm
2?
fluent in two major languages, English and Swahili, because Swahili is our national language. We use it everywhere here for government activities, and English because I work with the organization and I've just been good with languages, and maybe some two local tribal languages from my matrilineal side and patrilineal side too.
Nice. So, can you say something in Swahili for the audience, please?
Okay, thank you. Nimefurahi sana kuwa katika kipindi hiki na nafurahi jitihada zote ambazo Kat anazifanya kuendelea kuinua wasichana na wanawake na kufahamisha umma wote kuhusu masuala ya sayansi, na ningependa pia kuwaasa wale wote ambao wana nafasi na wana uwezo watumie nafasi zao na uwezo wao kuweza kuimarisha mifumo ya elimu, waweze kuimarisha namna wanavyo namna ya waweze kuwatia nguvu wale wasichana wote ambao wanatamani kufika katika levo hizi nzuri katika maisha yao. Na kwa wasichana wote wanaonitazama, tutaendelea kufanya jitihada kuwafikia, kuhakikisha mnakuwa wataalamu mnaowataka na kuishi ndoto zenu. Asanteni sana.
I
Thank
have
you.
I have no idea what you said, but it sounded beautiful.
Okay, so maybe you can play it slower next time and I'll give you the translation offline.
Okay. That sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a good idea. So, well, for thank you again for everyone who joined us live. For here in the States, it's the morning. The sun just came up in California. So, have a wonderful
Okay.
day. And in Tanzania, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. And thank you so much
Thank
for taking
you.
the time to chat with me today.
Thank you. Thank you, Kat.
Yes,
I hope to
absolutely.
see you soon.
I hope so too. All right. Have a good have a good night.